It's the beginning of time. Our creator is sitting in front of a blank slate universe design that has just been completed. Next to the creator is an incredible, incomprehensible number of electrons, protons, and neutrons. This unfathomable number of subatomic particles has a total mass equal to the total mass of all of the mass currently in the universe. You might be saying, well, wait a minute. E equals mc squared. Energy and mass are actually the same thing. All I'm saying is if the creator had a scale and put all of the subatomic particles on that scale, the number outputted would read equal to the total amount of mass currently in the universe, rounded to like 5 significant figures or something. And again, you might say, well, what about dark matter? Or you might ask another question about the inaccuracies of what I'm saying. I don't know. I know in today's physics you have different kinds of matter. There's normal matter, you have wormholes. But the purpose of this video is to understand physics, chemistry, and the universe on a level that humans have mastered enough to where we use these theories to create marketable products. So, I mean, if you read up, watch videos on quantum mechanics, that's technology that our kids are going to use to create teleporters. But this isn't going to happen in our lifetime, so it's not applicable for this video. Okay, so the creator has designed these protons, neutrons, and electrons to have some special properties. The protons and electrons are attracted to each other with a certain intensity, and the protons and electrons repel their own kind with that same intensity. Humans have defined this attraction and repulsion property of electrons and protons as electric charge. Neutrons don't attract or repel anything, but they do seem to somehow hold protons together in a nucleus. There is also an additional property possessed by electrons. The inherent movement and spinning of electrons creates what humans have called magnetism. So if the creator were to hold an electron completely still next to a moving electron, the only force that those two electrons would feel is the force due to electric charge. However, if the creator allowed both electrons to have some movement relative to each other, then there would be an additional force in addition to the electric charge force called a magnetic force. And the magnetic force would push the electrons in a direction perpendicular to the electric charge forces. Okay, so moving forward. For the sake of simplicity, I am going to say that in the creator's own area outside of the universe, the creator makes hydrogen atoms out of all of these subatomic particles. I know physicists might be rolling their eyes. Oh, this is ridiculous. Just go with me here. Okay, so hydrogen has one proton, one neutron, and one electron. And I know there's hydrogen isotopes, but let's just stick with basic hydrogen. I believe from chemistry, the electrons actually desire to hover around the nucleus rather than be alone in space. So what this means is that you don't have to apply force to get the electrons to move around a proton-neutron nucleus. However, to create a nucleus, you would have to apply a lot of force to cram protons and neutrons together and make them stay. Okay? So, moving forward. The creator has this bucket of hydrogen atoms. If the creator picks up a hydrogen atom and sets it down still in the universe, it will remain still in that position for eternity. But sitting in that position, one thing it will do is bend the universe material in its immediate area to where if any other mass comes in to that bent area, the two masses will tend to pull towards each other. This is the general concept behind the force of gravity. Go search YouTube for Gravity Explained, where people are dropping objects into latex like materials, and you'll see exactly what I mean by this bent universe concept. And when you're bending a universe, that you're technically bending space time. So like time can slow down when the universe is bent. It's real deep physics theory. Okay, so now moving forward. Also, while the hydrogen atom sits in this position, the atom will be emitting what humans call electromagnetic radiation, also known as light. As the electron is jumping and spinning around the nucleus at different speeds and motions, it is constantly emitting magnetic and electric charge forces. Right in its immediate area, but it's emitting them at exactly the same time, but right close to the electron. But based on the nature of these forces, when they're emitted simultaneously like that, and because, like I talked about earlier, they're kind of perpendicular to each other by nature, what happens is they continue to recreate and drive each other through space. So they never damp, and this electromagnetic field radiation, you call it, it moves at the speed of light, and it will never damp out. It will go on through space forever, for eternity, until it is influenced by something to stop or damp it. Maybe it runs into another mass, and those electrons feel it and start moving, so it gets absorbed. Or I think gravity can have an effect on it. But again, that's deep physics stuff. Okay, if the creator were to decide to set the hydrogen atom in motion, that atom would remain at that exact speed, moving in that exact direction forever, unless it is influenced by something like gravity, magnetism, electricity, electric charge, or it actually runs into some other atom or mass. So you can imagine this hydrogen atom moving in a straight line, bending the universe around it and emitting electric magnetic fields and electromagnetic radiation as it goes. Okay, all right, so I believe the Big Bang is when all of the mass of the universe is set in motion with one incredible explosion. And then the story goes something like, over time, stars which contain incredible pressure and heat were able to fuse more complex atoms, nucleuses, and molecules together. And eventually, over billions of years, we arrived at the world we live in today. But remember, though, when I say more complex atoms and molecules were created, look around you, all substances and material and things you see around you, just like those protons and neutrons were crammed into the nucleus, a lot of the molecules around you on Earth are crammed into those configurations. This might have happened in stars, or it could have happened on Earth through the last millions of years. I think technically crude oil is created through decaying carbon, plant matter, etc. That keeps getting stacked on and on and on and on and on through millions of years, and then there's a lot of pressure and heat, and then all of a sudden hydrocarbons are created. But again, if you can find a way to get these molecules to escape out of their configurations, they will come out flying at high rates of speed. Okay, so this video should give you plenty of intuition to use for the next video, which will be on what is energy as humans understand it and take advantage of it for commercial use today. And also, before I end, I want to note that many of the topics I just went over, like if you put an atom down still in the universe, it will never move. If you set an atom in motion, it will go on forever. Electrostatic, magnetic forces, etc. Think of these principles in terms of aggregates of atoms as well. So like a baseball, a rock, a meteor, those are just collections of atoms fixed together. If you set a baseball in motion in space, you're just setting an enormous number of atoms in motion all at once, right? Okay, and any chemists, physicists, or anyone watching who has a much more refined knowledge of the topics just discussed, or maybe some of the topics are inaccurate based on today's findings, feel free to comment below and provide your insights. See you guys in the next video.